If someone had told her that jealousy could make girls dig a hole just to bury her, she would have laughed. But now, looking back, she realized that envy often hides behind a sweet smile and gentle words before it strikes. Her name was a Gma dot in her small village. People called her Beauty, the beauty of the gods. She never asked for that name. She never wanted attention. But somehow, from the moment she was old enough to fetch water at the stream, everyone noticed her beauty before she even did. She was her parents' only child. They weren't rich, just humble farmers with a small home surrounded by cassava and yam fields. Her mother was the kind of woman whose laughter could make even a bad day feel better. Her father was a hard-working man who believed silence solved most problems. Life wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful, till other people's opinions began to shape her reality. The trouble started slowly. Whenever she walked past the village square, some girls would giggle and whisper. At first she thought it was harmless, but one afternoon, while fetching water at the stream, she heard one of them hiss, "See how she walks like she owns the whole village just because her face is fine." She turned to see Anna, Olivia, and Banter, 3 girls who always moved together like a pack. Their eyes were full of amusement and mean intentions. She smiled awkwardly, hoping kindness would help, but it didn't. From that day, they made her their daily topic. It became normal to hear things like, "Beauty," "Fine girl," "No B achievement." "Oh, you think the prince will marry you just 'cause your skin shines?" Sometimes they even copied her walk. She'd go home pretending she didn't care. But the moment she closed the door, the tears came. Her mother noticed Dot she always noticed. "My daughter," she would say, brushing her hair gently, "even sweet honey attracts jealous flies. Don't dim your light because others can't handle it." Her words were comforting, but they didn't stop the pain. Being beautiful in a small village felt like a curse. One day, the teasing became so bad that she begged her mother to let her skip the next market day. Her mother agreed, thinking rest would help. But that was when things got worse. The girls started calling her names like Snake Girl and Spirit Child. They whispered that her beauty wasn't normal, that her mother must have gone to a shrine to make her attractive. Soon, other villagers began to avoid her too. Her mother was furious when she heard the rumors. "They will not destroy my child's name because of jealousy," she said. Her father, quiet as ever, told her to calm down. "People always talk, let 'em talk," he said. She wanted to believe him, but it was hard when even children at the stream laughed behind her back. Eventually, her mother stopped sending her to the market. She didn't want her getting into fights or being humiliated. So she stayed home most days, helping on the farm or cooking, but staying away only made her lonelier. She could hear the girls laughing together whenever they passed by. Sometimes she would peek through the bamboo fence, watching them chat and sing as they walked to the village square. She wanted that too, friendship and belonging. Then came the day everything changed. The town crier beat his gong and announced that the prince was ready to choose a wife. There would be a grand dance at the palace, and every unmarried girl in the village was invited. The whole place buzzed with excitement. Women started sewing new wrappers. Girls practiced dance moves. She didn't plan to go. She knew what awaited her mockery. But her mother wouldn't hear of it. "Mama, you will go," she said firmly. "Don't let fear cage your destiny. Who knows? The gods may smile on you that day." So she began preparing quietly. She found a beautiful wrapper in her mother's box. Her mother even gave her one of her cowrie necklaces. "You look like a queen," she said, smiling proudly. But while Beauty dreamed of a wonderful day at the palace, others were secretly planning her fall. The very next morning, Anna, Olivia, and Banter met at the stream where the village girls often gathered. "Do you think Beauty will go to the dance?" Banter asked, throwing a stone into the water. "It better not," Olivia replied with a hard look on her face. "If she goes, no one will even notice us. The prince will choose her right away." Anna smiled slowly. "Then we make sure she doesn't go at all." They all looked at each other and nodded. Their plan began with lies dressed as kindness. A few days later, they showed up at Beauty's house with big smiles on their faces. They carried roasted ground nuts and fresh fruits as if they were peace gifts. Beauty was shocked when she saw them. She could hardly believe her eyes. They bowed their heads and said they were sorry for everything they had done. They said they had grown up and wanted to be friends. Beauty's mother did not trust them at all. That evening she pulled her daughter aside and said softly, "Oma, be careful. Snakes do not change. They only change their skin." But Beauty's heart was tired of being alone. She wanted friends, she wanted laughter and peace. So she chose to believe them. From that day, the girls began visiting her almost every afternoon. They laughed together. They helped her braid her hair. They praised her dance steps and told her how beautiful she looked. Little by little, Beauty started trusting them again. She forgot her mother's warning, even though something deep in her heart still felt uneasy. One afternoon, while they were together in her room, Beauty showed them the clothes she planned to wear to the palace. The girls gasped loudly. "You look like a goddess," Banter said with a wide smile. Beauty smiled shyly, feeling happy and proud. She did not notice how Anna's smile did not reach her eyes. She did not know that while they praised her, danger was growing in their hearts. Later that same day, the girls gathered outside under a tree and started whispering. Their voices were low and serious. They agreed to dig a pit in the bush. On the day of the dance, they would trick Beauty and lead her there. They would push her into the pit, hurt her, and make sure she could not reach the palace. Early the next morning, they went into the bush with shovels and hoes. They dug with all their strength. Sweat poured down their faces. Their hands became sore. But their jealousy pushed them to continue. After days of hard digging, the pit was finally deep enough for their wicked plan. Then the morning of the dance arrived. Beauty's mother woke her up early. As she tied her wrapper and adjusted her necklace, her mother suddenly held her hands and said in a low voice, "Do not follow anyone through the bush today. Go to the palace alone. I had a strange dream." Beauty nodded and promised to be careful. She left to go help with cooking at the palace, her heart full of excitement. A few hours later, she returned home to change her clothes. That was when she saw the three girls walking toward her house. They were dressed in bright colors and looked very happy. "Beauty," Olivia called out, "we came to take you to the palace. Let's go together. We'll take a shortcut through the bush so no one will see our fine clothes before the dance." Beauty stopped walking. Her mother's warning echoed in her mind. Her heart beat fast. But Anna quickly laughed and said, "Ah, you're still listening to that old woman's fears? We are your friends now, remember?" Beauty hesitated again. Her heart told her not to go, but her mind told her that maybe they had truly changed. Slowly she followed them. As they walked, they laughed and talked about the prince. For the first time in many months, Beauty felt truly happy. She felt like she finally belonged. But as they went deeper into the bush, something felt wrong. The laughter slowly faded. The path became narrow and quiet. Even the birds stopped singing. Beauty's chest grew tight with fear. Then Anna suddenly turned and said, "This way, Beauty. The ground is smoother here." Beauty took one step forward. Suddenly, the ground beneath Beauty gave way. She screamed as she fell into a deep pit. Her legs hit something hard, and sharp pains ran through her body. She looked up, dizzy and scared, as the three girls peered down at her, their faces full of cruel smiles. "Look at you, Beauty," Anna said, leaning over the edge. "The village beauty, the queen-to-be. You want to dance? Dance there." They laughed, their voices echoing through the trees. Beauty's heart raced. "Please help me," she cried. "Why are you doing this?" The girls just stared at her. "You think you're better than us?" Olivia sneered. "Let's see if the prince will still want you now." Then they turned and walked away, leaving her trapped. Beauty screamed and clawed at the walls of the pit, but it was too deep. The sun began to set, painting the sky orange. She realized she was alone, trapped, and in serious danger. Panic settled in as she shivered, her tears falling onto the dirt. Meanwhile, Beauty's mother waited anxiously at the palace. Her daughter had not arrived. She asked the other girls if they had seen her, but they pretended not to know. Fear grew in her chest. She rushed to her husband. "Something is wrong," she said, clutching his arm. They both knew it. Far away, a skilled hunter named Dinter prepared to hunt for the day. He usually provided meat for the palace, but as he walked through the thick bush, he heard a faint voice calling for help. "Please, someone help me. Is anyone there?" He stopped in his tracks. The voice sounded weak and desperate. Following it, he soon discovered a deep pit. At the bottom, a trembling girl was trapped. Dinter quickly lowered a rope and helped her climb out. Beauty drank some water he offered, her hands shaking. On their way back, Dinter made a decision. Instead of taking her home, he would bring her straight to the palace. Beauty's safety was his priority. When they arrived, he told the king everything and presented Beauty before him. Her parents rushed to the palace, stunned to see her safe. Beauty explained everything, the lies, the jealousy, the trap. The king and queen listened, horrified. The king's face darkened with anger. He vowed that the girls who had done this would be punished. He summoned the town crier and ordered everyone in the village to come to the palace. When the three girls arrived, they denied knowing Beauty, but the king's eyes burned with anger. One of the girls finally broke down, tears streaming down her face. "We're sorry," she whispered. "We were jealous of Beauty. We just wanted to scare her." The other girls cried too, but the king was firm. He ordered them locked up. When they were released, no one in the village would be allowed to speak to them or trade with them. Anyone who did would face the same punishment. Beauty's parents breathed a sigh of relief. She was safe, and the guilty girls were punished. The crowd stood quietly after the king announced the punishment. Everyone felt shocked that girls so young could plan something so cruel. But before anyone could speak, the prince stepped forward. His voice was calm but strong. "I have found my wife," he said, making everyone turn toward him. "She is here today," people began whispering. Some wondered which girl he meant. Others looked around in confusion. Slowly the prince walked toward Beauty, who stood with her parents, her clothes still dusty from the pit. He reached out his hand, lifted her gently to her feet, and brushed dirt off her dress. "Her heart is pure," he said softly. "She survived jealousy, lies, and danger. That is the kind of strength a queen needs." The crowd erupted into cheers. Beauty's parents covered their faces in shock and joy. The villagers clapped loudly, celebrating the girl they once whispered about. Even the king and queen smiled proudly, happy that their son had chosen someone kind and brave. The jealous girls, still crying, were led away by the guards. Their heads hung low. No one in the village looked at them with pity. Everyone knew they had tried to destroy someone who had never harmed them. Dinter, the hunter who saved Beauty, was called forward. The king thanked him and rewarded him with a new hunting bow, fine clothes, and a place among the palace workers. Dinter bowed deeply, grateful and proud. Beauty was taken into the palace to be cleaned and dressed in royal clothes. She wore a beautiful wrapper with golden edges, matching bracelets, and a necklace that sparkled like sunlight. For the first time in a long time, she smiled without fear. That evening, the grand dance began. Girls from every village came dressed in colorful wrappers, but Beauty stood out without trying. Her story had spread, and everyone admired her courage. When the prince took her hand and led her to the center of the dance floor, the drums grew louder. The villagers cheered as they danced together for the first time. Beauty felt safe. She felt loved. She felt seen. Her mother watched with tears in her eyes. Her father, usually quiet, smiled with pride. Everything they had prayed for their daughter was finally happening. By the end of the night, the prince announced that Beauty would become his bride. The whole village celebrated. Some people even apologized for ever believing the lies about her. They now understood that jealousy can blind people, but truth always wins. Beauty's destiny was fulfilled. Even though others had tried to bury her light, she rose brighter than ever. She became a symbol of courage, kindness, and strength. And from that day on, everyone remembered one lesson. Jealousy destroys, but a pure heart always shines. Thank you for watching, besties. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. To all my returning subscribers, thank you for always supporting this channel. And to my new viewers, I truly appreciate every one of you. See you in the next story. Stay blessed.